serpents and spiders, tail of a rat, call in the spirits wherever they're at. Rap on a table, it's time to respond. Send us a message from somewhere beyond. Goblins and ghoulies from last Halloween, awaken the spirits with your tambourine. Creepies and crawlies, toads in a pond, let there be music from the beyond. Witches and wizards, put on your pants. Everyone knows that's how you get ants.
Because that's how you get ants.
The Disney ride The Haunted Mansion has a long history that starts back when Walt Disney first conceived of the park. It took nearly 15 years of development to launch it on August 9th, 1969. There were two camps on the Haunted Mansion. One wanted to make it family-friendly to fit in with the rest of the park, while the other wanted a scarier adult-themed ride. They reached a compromise with the scarier part at the beginning, while the ride becomes more family-friendly as it progresses. The ride has remained popular since its opening, which has allowed it to survive without too many changes. I've been to both Disneyland and Disney World once, having ridden the Haunted Mansion in both locations. Even though I'm not a Disney-phile, I still consider it my favorite ride. The music is great, the effects are jaw-dropping still. Whether or not it scares you, I find the practical application of the effects fascinating every time I've seen it. But there's something that still haunts me beyond the ride. It's the thought that we can find anything nice to say about 2003's The Haunted Mansion.
The Haunted Mansion.
While the Imagineers behind the ride had to compromise between family-friendly and scary, the movie makers went for family-friendly. I think this can be pretty divisive. The Haunted Mansion is not particularly scary. Depending on how you look at it, this may or may not be a bad thing. They sacrifice the scary for the sake of the story. There's an opening that gives a few details about the Haunted Mansion we are about to see. We see in montage Edward Gracie fall in love with Elizabeth. She sends him a letter saying she doesn't love him in return, and he kills himself. In the present, Eddie Murphy plays Jim Evers, a real estate agent with his wife Sarah Evers. In the opening scene, it shows he's good at his job. He uses a phone call from his wife to pretend there's another offer on the house he's showing. He makes the sale, meets with the sellers, and gets pulled into another meeting with a new client. Right off the bat, we see that Jim is a workaholic, and if you know movies, you'll know where this is going. But just because something is predictable doesn't mean it's bad. It's clear that Jim needs to have some kind of experience to readjust his priorities, and given that this movie is called The Haunted Mansion, we can guess what that's going to be. It's established early that Jim's son, Michael, is afraid of spiders and his daughter, Megan, is pretty much fearless. We get a funny scene where Jim is teaching Michael how to be a man and kill his own spiders. Sarah convinces Jim to take a break and go up to the lake, but they get a call from a mysterious person asking Sarah to come up to take a look at a mansion for sale. Jim can't resist, so they stop there on the way up to the cottage. There's some humor when we see Jim trying to figure out a way to sell the house. We meet Ramsley, the creepy butler. In his not suitable for work special, Eddie Murphy had a bit about white people staying in a house with ghosts in it, while black people would have run at the first sign of anything weird happening.
I was watching Poltergeist last month. I got a question. Why don't white people just leave the house when there's a ghost in the house?
In the Haunted Mansion, it actually takes a while for anything paranormal to happen. Jim is exploring the house, he finds a secret passage and gets stuck inside. At the time, it's not paranormal. The kids are guided by a blue light around the house. Meanwhile, Sarah is being romanced by the current owner of the house, Master Gracie. Jim stumbles across Madame Leota, played by Jennifer Tilly. Madame Leota is the face inside the crystal ball.
Yeah, I hear you, but I don't see you. Where are you?
I am Madame Leota, seer of all, voice to the spirits.
I think Jennifer Tilly was a great choice for Leota. It requires a unique voice, which Tilly has, and I think she did a good job playing a head in a ball. At the end of the day, she gets most of the straight man lines to Eddie Murphy's over-the-top character, which makes for a pretty fun balance.
Oh, I see. You're just gonna sit there feeling sorry for yourself.
One of the strongest parts of this film is the references to the ride. Like I said, I've only been through the ride twice, so I'm not the most well-traveled, but partly for this episode, partly due to my own fascination, I've done my own research on the ride. There are so many references in this movie. Of course, the hitchhiking ghosts make an appearance. The singing bust can be found in the graveyard behind the house. Even the iconic purple wallpaper makes an appearance. If you're a fan of the ride, you might want to watch the movie just to see how many references you can spot. The house is based on the Disney World attraction rather than the Disneyland one. Jim gets chased by hovering band instruments, reminiscent of the ride. Jim and the kids travel through the cemetery to retrieve a key. All the usual suspects are there from the ride, including a ghostly version of the groundskeeper and his dog. When they get the key, there are some zombie skeletons that rise. While Jim has to face them down, Megan has to go after the key. They get trapped inside, and Michael has to overcome his fear of spiders to let them out. It's an emotional moment, tempered with some humorous parts.
Okay, come on! All right. Okay, all right. Get him off. Okay, come on. Get him off. Okay, all right. We got it. All right. You okay? All right.
Okay, I'm a brave little man. All right.
All right.
Using the key, Jim uncovers the truth. Elizabeth didn't spurn Gracie. She wrote a letter confessing her love. Ramsley poisoned her and sent Gracie a fake letter. Ramsley is convinced that Sarah is the reincarnation of Elizabeth, Gracie's long-lost love. All the spirits and servants are trapped on the mortal plane until Gracie can complete his romance. This is a good story. It's interesting. Everyone wants something out of the deal. Gracie wants to be with Elizabeth, Ramsley and all the other ghosts want their final rest. We get a pretty funny moment when Jim says, "Don't tell me the butler did it." With his kids captured and his wife about to be married to a dead guy, Jim has to sacrifice everything in order to save his family. With Leota as his sidekick, it's a fun ride. Using the children as leverage, Ramsley convinces Sarah to play along. Jim faces down the walking armor to save the children. At the beginning, I said this was a family-friendly movie safe for kids, and I stand by it. Until the part where Ramsley gets dragged to hell. Yes, there's a part where Ramsley gets dragged by a fire demon into hell. He grabs onto Jim's leg and Jim almost gets dragged down with him. Gracie saves him, Elizabeth's spirit returns, and all the ghosts ascend to heaven, or upwards, whatever your religious predilection prefers. As they leave, Jim vows that the next time he says they're going to the lake, they're going to the lake. The Haunted Mansion was criticized for being neither funny nor scary. Well, I guess I don't disagree, but I don't think that it makes it bad. It's a movie you can watch with your kids that offers a few creepy moments but nothing over the top. Unlike the Imagineers in this case, they went straight for family friendly. As someone fascinated with the ride, I found plenty to enjoy. I like spotting the Easter eggs from the ride, though I'm sure I missed plenty. In 2015, Guillermo del Toro told Collider he submitted his final draft of the Haunted Mansion movie to Disney. His version was not going to be a comedy. Considering Guillermo del Toro's background, this would not be a family-friendly version.
Consider this dismaying observation. This chamber has no windows and no doors, which offers you this chilling challenge to find a way out. Of course, there's always my way.
As late as 2015, Ryan Gosling was in talks to star in the film, while the fan favorite Hatbox Ghost was going to be the main haunting. Well, that was the last we heard of any sort of new movie based on the Haunted Mansion. As of this taping, the next ride-based Disney movie set to drop is Jungle Cruise with Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt, but given the current state of movies amidst COVID-19, who's to say when that will happen? In the meantime, if you really have a hankering for the grim grinning ghosts, there are plenty of ride-through videos on YouTube to sate your thirst. Comment below with your favorite ride Easter egg in the movie. That's all we have today for Anything Nice to Say. Thanks for watching, and never be ashamed to like what you like. Research for this episode was done primarily at Park Ride History. Check out that channel for in-depth backgrounds on the Haunted Mansion rides and other Disney attractions. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to see when we drop a new video. It's every Wednesday, so don't be surprised. Check out our merch store for all our new designs and subscribe to us on Patreon for exclusive content.